everyone, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 19 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host, Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in ECW history with match number 32 on our list, which is the match between Mike Awesome and Masato Tanaka from the ECW Heatwave 1998 pay-per-view held on August the 2nd, 1998. So much to unpack with this one. So one, you have Heatwave 1998, one of the best ECW shows of all time and one of their best offerings on pay-per-view ever. This show is loaded. It is so good. You get Just Incredible and Jerry Lynn in a great opening match. You get Lance Storm and Chris Candido in a great match. You get this match with Awesome and Tanaka, which is blow away good. You have Bam Bam Bigelow and Taz in a highly anticipated rematch from their match at Living Dangerously, this time with Falls Counting Anywhere. You have the Dream match, although I personally don't think it's very good. You get the Dream match of Rob Van Dam and Sabu against Hayabusa and Jinsei Shinzaki from the FMW promotion. I'll talk a little bit more about FMW in a second, which, you know, despite the fact of me not thinking it's great, it's really disjointed and overly long, really has this appeal though of being this amazing interpromotional, you know, intercontinental dream match, which is exactly what it was. So it still holds that appeal. You get a main event that had, you know, a really kind of hot story coming into it, with, you know, Tommy Dreamer and company getting revenge on the Dudley Boys for them breaking the neck of Beulah. Again, I don't think that match is great, but put it all together though, and you get this excellent, really fulfilling, worthwhile pay-per-view. Heatwave 1998 is a great show. But that brings us to this match here. So ECW had entered a working relationship with FMW, which was a hardcore promotion from Japan, run by Atsushi Onita, that really, you know, revolutionized, you know, the hardcore kind of ultra-violent wrestling and the deathmatch style that, you know, would become so prevalent in the years following. So ECW had worked on this working relationship. I think the overall goal was Onita was going to come in and wrestle the Sandman, possibly in an exploding barbed wire match, which was Onita's signature, like had happened so many times with Onita in the years following that, with XPW and countless others before eventually, you know, having somewhat of a payoff with CZW. Onita would make an appearance at the ECW arena, attack the Sandman, and then the deal would fall through. And that would be that, and he wouldn't appear in the States. But at the time, there's still high optimism. So what ECW did is they started bringing in Masato Tanaka in early 1998. Masato Tanaka, you know, if you've seen my videos before, I had a match of his in the season 1, which was the best matches of 2020, and I talked about how this guy's longevity is amazing and how he's an absolute legend. And I feel is, you know, although he's held in high regard, he's still kind of underrated. So Masato Tanaka comes in, and Mike Awesome is a different story. So Mike Awesome actually appeared in ECW in 1994 at The Night the Line Was Crossed, which was the, you know, the famous show with the Shane Douglas, Sabu, Terry Funk 60-minute draw. Mike Awesome appeared on that show, wrestled JT Smith, who again, you know, very under the radar early ECW guy that, you know, maybe doesn't get as much notoriety nowadays as I feel that he should. But Mike Awesome wrestled him then, just squashed him, and was incredible, doing all of these big man moves that, you know, or moves that big men shouldn't be able to do, or at least what we were conditioned to in 1994. But then he just fell off the face of the earth. So clips of that match, you know, Mike Awesome hitting this big dive to the floor, were in the opening for Hardcore TV for years, despite the fact that Mike Awesome never appeared again. He went over to Japan and became a star in FMW. These two had their first singles match in FMW in 1995, and they didn't main event, but they had the big title match at the Kawasaki Dream Show in 1997 at Kawasaki Stadium in front of over 50,000 fans. So these guys, you know, had competed on the biggest platform possible, you know, for Japanese wrestlers. So ECW brings Masato Tanaka over. builds him up with some quality wins. He had a couple of great matches with Balls Mahoney. They had great chemistry. They'd have numerous battles throughout the years. They'd be tag team champions together as well. So we had these matches with Balls, and they brought in Mike Awesome as his rival from Japan. These guys had a match in New York City at the Madhouse of Extreme. Masato Tanaka would win that match, and Mike Awesome, in just an absolutely grisly move, would hit the Awesome Bomb, which was basically like a running power bomb. He would hit it on Tanaka over the ropes, through a table on the floor post-match. That led us to this grudge rematch at Heatwave 98. These guys kill it. I've talked so many times in these videos before about my love for wrestling rivalries, specifically Sting and Vader. So Sting and Vader is my favorite rivalry in wrestling history. If that's number one, 1A is Masato Tanaka and Mike Awesome. These guys' matches are incredible because they all are somewhat the same, but they all have all of these levels of nuance to them, and they build off of the previous matches. And it sounds so funny, like how many times can you watch somebody get powerbombed through a table or hit in the head with a chair, right? And that happens in all of these guys' matches all the time, right? But they put little twists on them and callbacks to their previous moves, and they escalate the violence throughout their entire rivalry, that you can literally watch every match, every singles match that these guys have ever had against each other consecutively in a row, and you would find value in that because of the callbacks. It's so good. It's so good, the rivalry that these guys had. This was their coming out party. So they had the match on Hardcore TV, which was great. Narrowly missed the top 50 list. And then they came out at Heatwave, guns a-blazing. And immediately this match establishes Mike Awesome of taking every preconceived notion that you have about a big man in pro wrestling in this era. And I love Kevin Nash, but like you look at a Kevin Nash, or you look at the Giant or the Big Show, right? And you look at all of these guys that had dominated wrestling. Even if you want to look at, the Undertaker, who in this era, the Undertaker became a high-level performer, right? But in this era, he wasn't, right? So you look at Undertaker, you look at Nash, you look at Big Show, you can look at other guys that have come through like Giant Gonzalez and all of these big time wrestlers. You even look at guys in ECW that have come through like, Primetime Brian Lee, for example. All of these big wrestlers. And then you look at Mike Awesome, who is a big, strong, powerful wrestler. And immediately in this match, he runs up the buckles to the top rope and hits a back elbow. He hits a slingshot shoulder block from the ring apron into the ring, and he hits a suicide dive to the floor. And that's all in the opening of this match. So immediately you are blown away by this guy, and you think this man needs to be the WWF or the WCW World Heavyweight Champion immediately. He has everything. He has the size, he has the look, he has this athletic ability that we've never seen before. And it was a no-brainer that this man should have been far more successful than, unfortunately, stateside at least, he would ever really become. And it's a goddamn shame, is what it is. And Mike Awesome unfortunately passed away in 2006. And I'm sorry, but he is someone that should have gotten so much more than he did. And it's, like I said, it's a damn shame. But the thing is too with Mike Awesome is whether wrestlers that are going today know it or not, if you are a big man wrestler today that does athletic moves, if you are, and I'll throw out some names, if you're a Keith Lee, if you're a Donovan Dijak, if you're a Damian Priest, if you're a Bronson Reed, if you're any of those guys that is, athletic, far beyond your size should indicate, if you do Spanish flies or you do moonsaults or you do any of that stuff, you owe Mike Awesome a debt of gratitude for opening that door for you to be able to perform that way, and that preconceived notion that I talked about of a big man just being a big stiff, those doors being blown wide open for, you know, those wrestlers that I just spoke of to be able to hone their craft and perform the way they do now. Mike Awesome is that trailblazer, and I really don't feel that he gets that credit. Because, you know, he had this run in Japan and this run in ECW, but outside of that, in the WCW, WWF, he really didn't amount to much. And I feel like that, you know, kind of tarnishes his name, and he doesn't get that respect. That's a tangent that has been included in this video. But Mike Awesome's incredible in this match. It shows it right away. Masato Tanaka, though, like I said, is the absolute man. So this match, for as much as it accentuates, you know, Mike Awesome's abilities and skills, does the same for Tanaka. What's Tanaka known for? He is a tough SOB. So he gets dropped on his head with a German suplex and no-sells it, which is something you really weren't seeing in North American wrestling at the time. Japan, absolutely, right? With that King's Road style, but not North America, right? Guys would throw German suplexes as finishing moves, right? But Masato Tanaka got dropped on his head with one and got right back up. And it was the coolest thing ever. We get, you know, chair shots galore, right? And that's a big thing where, you know, they would do this sequence where Masato Tanaka would absorb these chair shots and not go down. And in this one, you know, it was two big ones from Awesome. Tanaka would fight through with that fighting spirit, and it would be the third one that would take him down. Awesome teases the Awesome Bomb over the ropes that they did on, you know, on TV post-match. Tanaka slips out, rallies back, he hits, so the cool thing is ECW pay-per-views in this era, they have the big long ramp that connects from the stage to the ring, very, you know, early 90s WCW-esque. So Tanaka hits like a running chair shot all the way down that ramp onto Awesome, which was super cool. Mike Awesome hits a big dive into the crowd, which was nuts. He gets a sit-out Awesome Bomb and the Awesome Splash, which is like a big Superfly splash, which always looked great. He got tons of hang time off of it. It was only good for 2. And then we go back to the Awesome Bomb spot. So again, you know, Awesome, he realizes that everything he's done can't put Tanaka away. This dude is way too tough. He goes for that Awesome Bomb to the floor that he nearly killed Tanaka with in New York City. And just in a crazy, crazy spot, Tanaka slips out the back. Masato Tanaka is much smaller than Mike Awesome, but he shows his power. He hulks Mike Awesome up, and he gives Awesome the power bomb over the ropes, through the table on the floor. The bump here is gnarly. Awesome lands on his neck and gets completely folded over through the table. It's ruthless. And we get back in the ring, and it's a tornado DDT onto some chairs that is able to seal the deal. And Masato Tanaka wins this return match from Hardcore TV in front of a very hot Dayton, Ohio crowd at the Harrow Arena that, you know, gives these guys their, you know, absolute love throughout the course of the contest. And like I said, this match really was a coming out party for these guys. What would happen shortly after this match? Mike Awesome would break his leg. And any you know, positivity that was coming out, it looked like these two guys were the future of pro wrestling and were going to be the future of ECW, immediately got derailed. We would see Masato Tanaka, like I said, him and Balls Mahoney would have a very, very short run as the tag team champions, beating the Dudley Boys. Masato Tanaka was scheduled to fight Rob Van Dam for the television title at Guilty as Charged 1999. For whatever reason, travel, injury, I don't personally remember what it was. He was unable to make that show. Lance Storm filled in instead. And we would not see Masato Tanaka for the better part of 9 months after that. This would all lead us to Anarchy Rules 1999, Masato Tanaka versus Taz for the ECW World Heavyweight title, and we will talk more about that another day. So if you don't want to miss that video, of course, you can subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. You'll be catching that one relatively soon. There's a little sneak peek for you. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50. You can find this match on the WWE Network. You might be able to find it on Peacock, but if you look hard enough, you will be able to find it online. And I really hope that you join me again tomorrow, as always, as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50. Top 50.